The Steam Deck will go down in history as one of the best PC handhelds to have ever existed. But in my experience, the grade on deck badge sometimes seems like an outright lie, therefore making the console kind of garbage in comparison to this beauty, the Lenovo Legion Go. But the real issue lies even deeper than that grade on deck lie. Now, I owned a Steam Deck for about a year and 2 months, and in that time, I poured over hundreds of hours playing some of my favorite games. To name a few, Elden Ring, we were all playing it, let's be honest. Also Persona 4. Being able to play graphically intensive AAA games that I couldn't play on the Switch in a handheld form seemed like a dream to me. The perfect use scenario in my opinion was sitting down, watching a movie on the couch with my fiance while I ran away from Mr. X in Resident Evil 2. That to me, I was like, yo, sign me up, dude. Now, most games that are released for home consoles are usually very highly optimized by the developers so they can run super buttery smooth. You can just load up a game, press start, and then you're in it. Now, this is a super easy to use experience that we're all probably very familiar with, never really having to worry about a game crashing for whatever reason. It does happen, but not that much on consoles, to be honest. It seems to be that it's a very unanimous decision by everyone that the Steam Deck offered a very console-like experience to your PC gaming in a handheld form. Now, I'm pretty sure if you're watching this video, you're very familiar with the troubles of PC gaming, meaning that before you start playing that game you just downloaded onto your computer, you have to spend about an hour or two just changing settings so your computer can run it as best as it can. Now, the Steam Deck does manage to minimize a lot of these troubles, and that is all made possible by the Great on Deck badge that game developers strive for their games to earn. Now, if you don't know what that means, it basically means that the tech geniuses over at Valve see how well optimized a game is to run on the Steam Deck, therefore offering that ease of use that they hope to deliver on by giving it that Great on Deck badge. Now, some games do have minor issues with like text sizes, launchers, and these games might earn a different badge on that scale of Steam Deck ready game. Now, I understand that this badge doesn't guarantee that a game will run way better on my Steam Deck than it would on my PS5 or Xbox. I mean, even when I would launch these games that were great on deck, I would still have to go into the settings of the game to better optimize and change a couple of things up so these games ran better on the Steam Deck. I mean, for the most part, the Great on Deck badge really does deliver. Until it doesn't. Game crash after game crash after game crash. It seemed like the Great on Deck badge basically just meant unreliable for me. Now, I'm gonna be completely honest with you guys, these game crashing issues didn't happen all the time. It's just, it happened so randomly and it's just like for no reason. I guarantee you that if I had these constant issues so much, I would have returned the damn thing and just got my money back. For example, I would launch a game, be 15 minutes into that said game, and then all of a sudden, crash. I would relaunch that game, go 45 minutes now, and then randomly crash. Now, to top it off, I would relaunch that game for a third time, 5 minutes in, crash. The craziest part is that on some days, it didn't even happen at all. I didn't have that issue. Now, this became such a constant thing that I had to deal with that I, for the most part, knew that if I wanted to get an hour of gaming out of my Steam Deck, I would at least have to deal with 3 to 5 crashes within that hour. And I'm not exaggerating. I've always considered myself to be a bit of a patient person for the most part, but dealing with that was just very annoying. Especially when I would be playing, for example, Elden Ring. We know the bosses are like a huge thing in that. And for some reason that day, the Steam Deck gods decided to grace me with an hour and a half without any issues whatsoever. All of a sudden, I'm in the middle of a boss fight and then crash. Since the Steam Deck is a Linux-based system, it is running a compatibility tool called Proton that allows it to run Windows-based games. After doing some research as to perhaps why I was experiencing this, it seemed to be that the issue might actually lie with Proton itself. Many people weren't actually using the stock version of Proton that comes with the Steam Deck. They were using either an unfinished experimental version called Proton Experimental, or they were using a custom version of Proton called Proton GE. Now, I'm telling you, 90% of the people that I saw talking about these different versions of Proton swore that this fixed a lot of their issues. So, decided to give it a try. Now, this did seem to lower how often these game crashes were happening, but this was definitely on a game-by-game basis. Some games ran better on the stock version of Proton, some ran better on the experimental, and some ran better on the Proton GE. But every now and then, I found myself switching in between those different versions, even for just one game, because one day it would work and then one day it wouldn't. This seemed to happen the most in my case after the stock version of Proton had an update. A game that I would be playing a day ago on that stock Proton, the next day, that same game would crash after 10 minutes of playing it, on the stock Proton updated version. At the end of the day, it kind of just became of what version of Proton will work today? It just happened so often and so inconsistently that it became kind of a chore to even want to pick up and play my Steam Deck. That dream of me sitting down watching a movie with my fiance while I play a AAA game on my Steam Deck became a reality where I would sit down on the couch, watch a movie with my fiance, and I would try not to chuck my Steam Deck across the room because I was so annoyed at it. If you're a Steam Deck owner and some of this sounds familiar to you, please let me know in the comment section down below what you did to fix it, or if this even happened to you, or honestly, like, am I just crazy? Like, was my Steam Deck the worst Steam Deck to have ever been released? Like, let me know down in the comment section below, guys. Needless to say, the last few months that I owned my Steam Deck, I didn't even touch it. So I decided to just kind of sell it. Not because I hated the console. I love it. I still love the Steam Deck, but I think I just hated Proton. Now, when the Steam Deck worked, it was perfect. I love the down console. I took it everywhere with me. I would drop off my fiance at work and I would take the console. I know I wasn't gonna play, but hey, maybe I got traffic and I would put a little couple minutes in there. Don't game and drive. I didn't do that. It's just an example, right? But all these perfect moments were always kind of followed by an imminent game crash. Now, the Steam Deck and its success not only sparked a lot of interest in us gamers, it also really got the interest of other laptop manufacturers to kind of take their spin into it, you know? Then in November, Lenovo decides to bring out their Lenovo Legion Go. Now, was it ripping a page out of Nintendo's handbook? I mean, yeah. After the influx of all the YouTube reviews of this handheld PC started flooding my homepage on YouTube, I was like, okay, let's look into it a little bit further. Let's see what's up, you know? Now, originally, I wasn't planning on buying the Lenovo Legion Go. First of all, to me, the price point seemed a little bit too steep, you know? I got my Steam Deck for about like $5 something, so I didn't want to kind of dish out that extra money and pay a whole like $800 after tax. I was like, you know what? I'm kind of cool. But one morning, out of curiosity, I looked it up on Best Buy and I found a couple that were very nearby. But then I also saw that there was a couple in the open box category, and there was one about 20 minutes away from me, and it was like at a $200 off MSRP. As you can see, you probably know the rest of that story and what happened. Like I mentioned before, my gripe with Great on Deck isn't because of the Steam Deck. It was definitely because of Proton. Being that the Legion Go is a Windows-based handheld PC, in theory, this should kind of not give me any of the problems that I had dealing with the Steam Deck and Proton. Now, one of the games that I kept having this crashing issue was definitely Red Dead Redemption 2. So I downloaded it on the Legion Go, and let me tell you something. I played it for 5 hours straight without any issues. Yeah. If I wanted to have a similar experience like that on my Steam Deck, I would have had to donate a couple of my organs in order to at least get like 2.5 hours of my game running like that without any crashes due to freaking Proton. I mean, I think we kind of have a clear winner. I can end the video right now if I want to, right? There has been only one time with one game where I've had one issue, and that was Dragon Age Inquisition. Now, the issue wasn't with the game itself, it was more an issue with the EA launcher. I hadn't downloaded it yet, and I hadn't signed into my account. So once I downloaded it and did everything that I had to do, I was able to run the game smoothly, no problems. Also, in comparison, the Legion Go just feels like a way more premium product to the Steam Deck. Even though it does have the whole Switch gimmick with the detachable, not Joy-Cons, I love it, and trust me, you will find yourself using that gimmick because the console itself is freaking heavy, guys. It's almost like 2 pounds or something like that. In my life, the Legion Go has become more than just a handheld PC. I actually like to take off the detachable controllers and just use the console itself as a tablet. I don't own a tablet, so it's kind of like 2 birds with 1 stone. So I'll actually play YouTube videos while I'm cooking, or I'm just cleaning or doing some random menial task around the house. Now, the Lenovo Legion Go is nowhere near being a perfect handheld PC. There's definitely a lot of things that it can improve on, and honestly, I cannot wait for these improvements to be made throughout firmware updates. Now, obviously, one of the biggest gripes that I have with the handheld PC market right now is literally battery life, but that's kind of an issue all across every company. But this will come in due time as technology gets better and we're able to put bigger batteries into these handheld PCs. Regardless, the Lenovo Legion Go fixed a problem that the Steam Deck could literally never fix, and that is to deliver on the Great on Deck promise. Now, if this is your first time on this channel, I want to say thank you for for sticking to this part of the video. It really means the world to me. This is actually my first type of gaming / tech video I have ever made. Definitely expect more videos similar to this, since this year I actually decided to pivot my channel to do more videos along this line instead of what I was doing with my channel before, which is a little bit more photo / video oriented content. So stick around. With that said, make sure to subscribe, like, and comment on the video down below. I don't know, maybe tell me what I did wrong with my Steam Deck or what I could have done to help Proton run the best it could. Or just give me some video ideas. What other gaming related stuff I can do that you would like to see from me. Again, thank you for watching today's video. I'll catch you on the next one.